This is a really great opportunity for us. It's a challenging time, but I have to say that it makes us stronger. It makes us be able to be flexible and pivot as leaders in our communities. So, oftentimes I'm asked the question, especially being in this role by and from elected officials. And the question usually is, how have things changed since 1984 as a leader? In terms of not just leading the community, but just governing. And I often say the easy part of, being an elected official is running for office. The hardest part is governing. So most of what the issues of civility and how we focus as leaders to lead our communities is very important. And I'm so proud that Alan Kemp and Iowa League is pulling this conversation together from a national perspective. But when I often think about that question, I first think about the notion that City Hall business was always at City Hall. And, when people came up to you at the grocery store, the church, or your social gatherings, it was mostly a little complaining, about the garbage, about their neighbor, about you. But it was always a collegial way, respectful way. The change now is City Hall is almost everywhere you go. Your front lawn, people protesting in front of your house. Social media has brought it to your face every day. That's why I'm not on Facebook, because I don't want to read all the great things that people say about me. But I let my team manage that. LinkedIn and X or Twitter, I tend to look at that sometimes. But that has been a major change in terms of what and how we lead. The other thing is that sacred space that we used to have about our families. My son used to get in what I'd say arguments because his dad was the mayor, and that the city bought him a new car, or the lawn service is new because I got more money from the city. They paid me $3,000 a year. That would not have paid any money. However, the bullying and attacks on your family members, whether you are, someone who is just here to do the good work, they still become a part of your role. And the final thing is, it's us as public leaders. And I want to be direct about this. When I'm probably the person that I get more clips from all over America about the behavior of municipal officials on the dais. Sometimes I'm surprised. I'm shocked because that is a difference. It was always the capability of disagreeing, but not being disagreeable in a way that you are disrespectful to your colleagues, especially your city manager or your city clerk or your treasurer. It was always a thoughtful question about, how do we move forward with our community? How do we lead so that we are role models in this changing world that need a new type of governance, or not a new type, but maybe even it may be, I can say, it's Wednesday throwback day, if you will, trying to be able to go back to that moment, those moments. It's different. The harassment of you as municipal officials is real. And we need to be able to understand that now is the time to look at the way in which we govern and lead. So it really came to mind during the pandemic for me, when I started getting all of these calls from municipal officials all over America saying, what do I do? How do I lead? Oh my gosh, they are on my front lawn. I mean, it was a really emotional time. So I asked our team to pull up and do a survey of members. And we found initially that 80% of municipal officials, and I'm including all city managers, city clerk, mayors, council members, who responded, indicated that they had experienced some form of harassment, threat, violence in public spaces or virtual. And it became more and more a major issue for us. Not, it is because they were attacked, but the implications. 2 years later, what we saw was a lot more municipal officials, federal, state, and local, were saying, I'm out of here. I no longer want to serve. So what's the implication to that? We are losing some of the most talented leaders in America. Also, the implications is that we're finding that students at universities are saying, I no longer want to serve in public policy, public sector. And to me, that was like really heart-wrenching because all my life, in a sense, even from elementary school, I got thrown out of my first class because I disagreed with my teacher around something. And to live this life where I believe in what we do and trying to get more people in college, as well as to run for public office, it really impacted me a lot. And it challenged the why for me for a minute. Also, we saw that women tended to say that more often than men. So we're losing women public officials because they're saying, I'm gone more than men. And it's a threat to our local leadership. It's a threat to what we want to see happening in our communities. But I do think there are some solutions that I want to share with you that was in the report. Um, the first one is we as elected officials, we have to demonstrate respectful and courteous behavior on the dais and off the dais, but more so because kids oftentimes see us, and I'm going to start with our youth, but they oftentimes see us. And if we exhibit that behavior, surely they think that they should in school as well. But I also will tell you that the implications on the business of local government, because you are mayors and council members, city clerks, to me, you're CEOs and board of directors members. Bond finance companies look at the stability of a community and they say, whoa, we're not going to invest in that community because there's no stability there. There's limited stability. So we'd prefer to go someplace else. So I want us to think about it, not just because I want you all to sing Kumbaya at your meeting. Yeah, that's fine. What I want you to think about is your role and responsibility. I think with the second one is really about transparency, about the processes that you use and how you communicate. And we're all not born with the ability to communicate in a transparent form. And it's going to take, I think, some training from our state leagues and other university partners, because I have seen public officials communicate and they're not doing it in a transparent and effective manner, especially if you have a very diverse organization or a diverse community. One that you want to see in every zip code, you have the ability to reach out and talk with them about what is happening in their community effectively. And so that's very important. The third is I believe in genuine engagement, making sure that the decisions that you make are thinking about the entire city. And when our city leaders are able to do that, our residents feel as if they are represented and included in an effective way. And I also think it does build more civil discourse. Um, when I was mayor, there are things that I can tell you I did that brought our community together. And you'd be surprised about the simplicity of those things. Um, you know, using downtown as a place for gathering. People come there and they get to speak and they get to talk with each other, know their neighbors. You're less, well, where I grew up, you're less to yell at your neighbor when you live next door to him every day. I know that's not normal now, but festivals. One city of Tallahassee had the biggest dinner table, and all you had to do is to bring your food, and you sat down downtown in the square, and you sit there and talk with a stranger, a neighbor, a resident. I feel like we got to go back to some of those basic things. It brings about, I feel, residents better understand their communities. They understand the issues. They listen to you as an individual, not as mayor. It's like going home. You walk in the house, you leave your elected office at City Hall. At least most of us did. I hope you don't walk around and make your kids call you mayor or council member or city manager. But well, anyway, so I'll stay focused. So, but I think that that's something that your residents will be able to see you as who you are. And then you'll be able to have those conversations about solutions at City Hall. You'll be able to learn about what the things that are really happening in your community. You'll be able to build that sense of community that is important. Ultimately, I'm saying we got to do something different. DSD. I talk about that with my team all the time. Doing something different. It is uncomfortable often to do something different. It is uncomfortable because we've been trained to follow the same process. And doing something different means getting out of your normal way of leading, because today you have to be more prepared. You have to be more thoughtful in terms of the words that you use. You have to be able to walk in somebody else's shoes and listen to them and not judge. We're going to need to be able to think about our roles and what is needed for the community, not what is needed for us. And I think I look at all of you as partners in this movement for building trust and civility. And if I think of you as partners, I think of the P in partnership as having a level of patience with each other. I say grace. Just because I made a mistake and I said something, give me grace. Ask me why. Try to understand me and who Clarence is and not the role I serve. Also, the A means adaptability or accountability, both. Whether you want to use that, which one you want to use, but you have to be flexible to be able to hear others. But you also have to take accountability for your words and how you act as a municipal leader. I think it's going to take resilience. We can't give up. We just can't give up. This is the greatest nation in the world. We have the best communities, cities, towns, and villages. I get a chance to go in them all the time. And just so pleased to hear each city I go in, they always say one thing: this is the best community ever. And I rolled my eyes because I was like, my city was the best ever. But It's that belief that you have and that resiliency to go home, meditate, pray, whatever you do to get back up and keep leading. The T in partner is teamwork. I remember my mom when I was in office, and she came up to City Hall one time, and I had just seen her for dinner because I'd always have dinner with her before. I'm up for reelection, and she comes up to the podium and she said, I'd like to address the city commission. I did my formal mayor thing. You got 3 minutes, state your name, address for the record. And then I said, Ma, what you want? And so I had to be recognized that I was my mother. She complained about the garbage pickup. And after she got there, I said, why didn't you tell me? I would have handled it. She said, you oftentimes think that you're the only one that should be solving issue. It's all of your responsibility. It takes a team to address the challenges that you're having in your community. It takes a team, not just one individual, city managers, city clerk, everybody, and the electeds. The end is networking. You're not going to grow. You're not going to be the leader in your community that your community deserves if you just stay in your own community. It's just not going to happen. Clearly, read journals, talk to people, but even if it's the city next door or a city an hour away, network, learn, ICMA, Our League, National League of Cities, National League of Cities, National League of Cities. Anyway, you should come to the National League of Cities as well. The E is empathy, feeling someone else's pain, trying to understand why they feel so passionate, because each of you were hired or elected by the residents. And I often said when my colleagues got reelected, I often say, you are just as powerful as anybody else. Your vote is just like everybody else. And the final in partner, the R, is straight out respect. It's just respect. Respect builds trust. Respect builds a sense of love and joy that you will just feel like such a great leader. And I work at that. It's not perfect. But when I hire somebody at the National League of Cities, I first of all tell them, I hire you, I trust you, and I respect you. And you don't have to work at building trust with me. I don't have time to not trust people. But that respect and trust as a leader, whether you're staff or elected, it's a word that brings so much power. It's almost as powerful as the word love. And so with that, we got to do something different. DSD. And I appreciate you guys giving me this opportunity. And I truly respect you and love you and appreciate the work that you guys are doing.